Don't leave me hanging. It's go time.
Hey everybody, this is Josh. Welcome to Game 1 in a best of 3 series being played between IM.NesTea, that's Incredible Miracle NesTea. It just looks like all lowercase right here because they're playing at Blizzcon 2011 and they had to give him a North American account, so they just made it as basic as they possibly could. It's NesTea. He's the light blue Zerg down on the bottom right corner of Antiga Shipyard, and his opponent today is going to be imbaFXO.BratOK or BratOK. I may actually change between the two quite often throughout this series, so don't yell at me, don't get mad. I actually did meet him at BlizzCon, but basically all I had time to do was introduce myself before I was whisked away by security, and it's not what you think. Actually, I had a beer outside, BratOK was outside, I met him in Damaga, and security said, "Hey, you can't have beer out here." And that was the end of the story. So I waved goodbye to BratOK and Damaga, and never learned whether it's actually BratOK or BratOK. But either way, rambling a little bit about my security woes. NesTea and BratOK are actually playing for the first round of the BlizzCon 2011 Invitational. Well, maybe it's not an Invitational. Maybe it's a qualifier. It's kind of hard to tell, actually, because NesTea and MVP were invited. BratOK and Damaga had to actually play in a qualifier. People like Rhett, Naniwa, Sheth, Select, they all had to play in qualifiers, so I think MVP and NesTea were the only ones that were actually invited based on merit rather than a qualifier of some sort. Based on previous accomplishments, I should say. Everyone got here on merit. But Refinery going up for BratOK already after that first barracks, so usually you do see that timing. It's pretty standard. Orbital command should be coming up the moment that barracks gets completed. And back over here, NesTea looks like he has chosen to expand at 15. And still does not have a spawning pool in production. He's actually going to get an extractor before spawning pool so that he can get that fastest possible Zergling speed upgrade. We'll see if BratOK is going to try and bunker rush or be aggressive at all here in this early game in the very first series of BlizzCon 2011. NesTea dropping that pool finally. Should be right on time to gather 100 gas from that extractor so that he can get metabolic boost started. BratOK is going to locate his enemy already down in the bottom right. He does have time to actually start building bunkers. NesTea notably does not have any overlords in this viewing area. Of course, he realizes there's an SCV in his base, so if a bunker did get started, he would be okay. There's actually a first Marine coming down now, so bunker is still a possibility. This overlord is watching the ramp, so he should see when that Marine comes over. Obviously, the Marine will probably try to shoot at it, so we'll see if that ends up happening. I apologize if my voice is a little bit different than you remember from the last time I cast a game about a month ago. I am a little bit sick right now. I do have a little bit of a clogged nose and scratchy throat, so I'm going to probably try and take it a little easy here with this cast. Although these games are incredibly epic, I don't want to damage my throat. It has actually been a short while since I've broadcast something, StarCraft 2 match, but that's because I've been so busy in esports-tober, as I like to call it. We started with IPL 3 in Atlantic City. I was working every single day for about 18 hours at that event, and I actually was there 5 days before the tournament even started to help set up. The week after that was MLG Orlando, and I went and assisted Complexity Gaming with media and stuff like that at MLG Orlando. And finally, BlizzCon itself. I did actually manage to get to go to BlizzCon, and I do actually have some giveaways for you guys that I think you would be very, very interested in. So tune in to this channel throughout this week and next to see what those giveaways will be. BlizzCon-related stuff. We do have a Zergling bouncing around here inside the Natural of BratOK, but of course he has not finished this command center yet. It's a little bit of an interesting wall-off strategy here. He's got 2 depots and a command center building, rather than using that barracks or factory to plug that hole. So NesTea actually might not be aware that this factory has already begun. No, he's only seen those supply depots and the command center so far, and a couple of Hellions actually have already shot down that Zergling. So he is aware Hellions are on the way. He does have a handful of drones, Queen in a frontal position, not blocking the ramp noticeably. Also this Queen not blocking the ramp, so BratOK will see if he's going to be able to try and scoot past this Queen, try and get some free drone kills, or if he's going to wait for his 2 buddies. He's actually backing up quite a lot. It looks like he is not going to try to commit to killing too many drones with these first 2 Hellions. 2 more are about to pop out now, though, with that reactor on the factory, so we'll see if he gets a little bit more bold. Roach Warren just now finished for IM.NesTea, and 3 roaches begun building immediately. 4 roaches, 5 roaches now. Still Hellions and Marines being produced for BratOK. He does have some gas starting to roll in, but he's only on 1 refinery still. His orbital command is finished. He has not used the energy to drop a mule just yet, and he has not lifted over to the natural. There we go. Just about 4, 5, 6 seconds delayed there. He is going to send his Hellion pack down to the bottom right to see what sort of damage they can get done. NesTea, have you built any spine crawlers or anything? No, he's got 5 roaches though. 5 roaches against 6 Hellions are quite a good blockade, as those Hellions will take absolutely forever to be able to kill those roaches, and they're just going to march right up, chase those Hellions away, and BratOK again is not going to be able to get in and torch those juicy drones that he built them for in the first place. BratOK also has map control here with the Xel'Naga Tower, so he is going to see these roaches continuing to go up towards his base. That's a nice little help there. They did not have to reveal themselves, but they totally did, so BratOK should be prepared for this. He's got his wall completely finished now and a bunker building behind it. I'm really curious if NesTea is going to try and get a lot of damage done here. He has to assume that there are Marines around and that a bunker is possible. Also, of course, BratOK can just repair from the opposite side of the supply depots and be good to go. He did actually lift his orbital command when he saw that the counterattack was coming and set it back in his main, so that was a good move there. He does have enough energy for another mule, so he's going to have to keep track of that just a wee bit better. Starport coming up now for BratOK. He should be able to flip this starport onto this reactor the moment it gets complete. NesTea still just constantly building lots and lots of roaches and lings. Now he's satisfied with his army size. He's going to do a wave of 7 drones, also getting up another base here, this third base between himself and BratOK that could be susceptible to drops a little bit later, or NesTea himself could actually do some drops inside the main of BratOK, so we'll see if anything like that happens. We've got 6 Hellions still just cruising around here for BratOK against those original 6 roaches that crawled all the way up the map to chase them home in the first place. Both players being pretty passive right here. Neither player is really attacked into the other. If we look at units lost right now, it's only 2 units killed for either side. Scouting, drones, SCVs, lings, things like that. And NesTea, on the other hand, still just droning up heavily. He's already way ahead on Harvesters, 54 to 32, and that third base is going to allow him to make even more. Good placement there by NesTea, but of course 1 Hellion could come up there and deal with this Zergling right away. We'll see if BratOK actually tries to land before the Ling gets taken care of. Big SCV transfer right here, and because he was unable to land the orbital, they're actually going to start marching off back to that main command center. Last 2 are the only ones to deliver their payload to the closest orbital. Mule gets dropped. Let's go back into NesTea's base, just take a look at his architecture a little bit. We have a spine crawler coming up at the third base. We have a large pack of lings hanging out there. Evolution chambers, dual evolution chambers, getting melee and armor upgrades right now. Looks like BratOK is going to chase away a Zergling from the Xel'Naga Tower, and both players are posturing with their armies a little bit. Inside the main of NesTea, his lair is about 75-80% done. His Roach Warren and spine crawler and queen, everything still looking to be in pretty good shape there. There's a large pack of Marines right now for BratOK. 31 Marines with 2 medevacs overhead and a couple of Hellions on the ground to deal with those Zerglings a little bit quicker. We'll see how this attack goes. BratOK is going to be the first one to try and attack into NesTea now, but NesTea actually gets a flank with lots of roaches coming in from the back and the top. One positive thing here for BratOK is he can actually lift up a lot of those Marines inside these medevacs and head home whenever he feels like it, as long as he manages to stay away from those queens. He's actually killed a lot of lings already and is pressing into the third base now. He scores another queen kill and a spine crawler kill. Roaches dropping like flies. BratOK may actually be able to kill this entire hatchery before NesTea is able to respond with these 15 plus roaches that are in production. You can see their little timer bars here by the hatchery. There 5 roaches are going to pop out, but these Marines are in pretty good health. Medevacs are actually out of energy because they've been healing so much. A couple of Marines actually do get taken out by those broodlings, but here we go. The big wave of roaches have arrived, and now BratOK can just lift off and head home. So that was a very good exchange for BratOK. Did not lose his entire standing army. Managed to kill one of the hatcheries of NesTea. If you look at units killed, 69 against 19. Of course, a lot of those were Zerglings, but BratOK looking very good so far in this game 1. He's also trying to expand behind his attack, which is always advised. Wow, look at this production tab. Both players just building tons and tons and tons of stuff. That's how you know these guys are good. They're constantly building a ton of stuff. Infestation Pit, Hatchery, 20 Lings. We've got Queens, upgrades, +2/+2, both coming now for NesTea, and Glial Reconstitution and Pathogen Glands now the Infestation Pit is finished. So Infestors should be making their debut in this game relatively soon. Siege Tech is going to be done for BratOK. He's switching from pure Marine Hellion to Marine Tank, which is nice to see. Armory going to be done here soon as well. Did he ever get an Engineering Bay up? There is an Engineering Bay right here. He's already got +1/+1. So that attack was very, very well timed to coincide with those upgrades. He's got stim, combat shields, all the necessary stuff there. Not building a single Marauder this game, though. Concussive shells can be nice against a mass roach, but looks like NesTea is actually going to switch away from that a little bit. He does not have very many fighting units at all right now. 19 roaches, 32 lings. Where are those 19 roaches anyway? I don't actually see them on the map anywhere. 19 roaches should be pretty hard to hide, right? Let's look again at that unit tab. Oh, there they are, running between the natural and the main. Oh, gonna protect against this drop, actually, but again, BratOK with the ability to lift off and run away is benefiting him greatly. NesTea is going to have to commit some of his forces to be here at all times just to be able to defend against these drops. BratOK actually moving out of his base a little bit. He's going to probably want more siege tanks before he's able to push out with this force. Siege tanks, of course, allow you to get that positioning and shell your roaches and lings from afar rather than getting all up in your grill, killing you down. Spine crawler going up once again for NesTea back in his base. We got the roaches are on the move. Lots of infestors actually starting to pop out now and show their face. 32 more lings. NesTea's spending is just absolutely amazing. He's always 20 to 25 supply ahead of BratOK, even though BratOK killed a ton of stuff in that first attack. Again, we'll just look at the units killed. 73 against 21. That's a ton of supply that NesTea has already lost, and he is still ahead by about 30 supply right now. So he's just very, very, very good at macro. That's one of the things that makes him so freaking scary to play against. His Hive is actually about 75-80% done now as well. He did not spend too long on Tier 2, did not build a Spire at all, for example, just a handful of infestors to help out in the fight with these lings and roaches. The ling's sitting at 2-2 upgrades now. Makes me wonder if he is going to go for a Spire and eventually Broodlords. He is getting Adrenal Glands now that the Hive has been finished. If he went Broodlords, they would be able to benefit from those melee attacks. He doesn't even have a Baneling Nest. He's already building an Ultra Cavern, getting a +3/+3 melee and armor upgrades as well as Adrenal Glands. The Ultralisk Cavern, once it's done, obviously those Ultras will be able to benefit from those upgrades as well. So NesTea just going to go heavy on the spending, even though he's under 100 minerals 16 minutes in the game. That's just very impressive macro when you haven't been under attack all that much. He's just spending so efficiently right now. He's at max supply, 41 supply ahead of BratOK. Let's take a look at what he's been up to. He's got plenty of tanks and marines. Command center being built here at his third. Let's look at the harvester count real quick. 74 against 69, so BratOK's still keeping up very well there, and with the power of mules is actually a little bit ahead of mineral income every now and then. Gas is about the same as well. Ultralisk Cavern going to be finished right now, actually. Is he going to start those upgrades from the Ultras immediately? No, he doesn't, but he does have tons and tons of money to be able to build Ultras themselves and a fourth base going up at that gold, which will soon be up and running. He can transfer a ton of drones over there, suck that thing dry pretty quick. Chitinous plating coming up now for the Ultras. That's going to put them at 5 armor in combination with this Zerg Ground Carapace level 3. Actually 5 or 6. We'll have to double check that. It's been a while since I've cast late game Zerg, so I know that Ultras already spawn with some armor, with +3 armor and +2 from chitinous plating. It should be quite a lot. Yes, +2 armor to Ultralisk, so it's either 5 or 6, I cannot remember, but I don't want to harp on that too long. We've got lots and lots of lings here for NesTea. BratOK is actually also pretty much maxed. We'll see how his upgrades look. He's got 1-0 on his mech and 2-1 on his bio. NesTea already at 2-2, soon to be 3-3. BratOK is going to need to catch up. He's getting his +2 armor right now, but he has only 1 engineering base, so he's not able to double upgrade like NesTea's been doing all game. BratOK with these siege tank placements are actually going to be very, very good here. Oh, big fungal lands on all the marines. You can see their health bars just draining as those lings and roaches take them out. Infestors actually all getting splattered as well by the siege tank fire, except for one. He does manage to escape. Roaches are trying to break this line, but actually the siege tank survived with very, very little health. One more fungal would have killed a ton more marines and those couple of tanks. So BratOK still rolling through with this attack. Both players still very even on supply, but check this out. 9 Ultralisks in the production tab right now. That is so many Ultralisks. I don't think BratOK really has the composition necessary. Let's take a look here. They're at 5 armor now, so they will be at 6 armor when this upgrade finishes. There are a lot of siege tanks here with that +1 attack. They do a ton of damage against armored targets, but 10 Ultras now and 50 Lings about to pop out with max upgrades. Is a very, very scary prospect for this number of squishy Marines. There's no Banshees or any other air units to be able to be protected from those Lings and Ultras when they do finally pop. BratOK has just done an amazing job here. He actually had a drop inside the main as well. Just doing an amazing job, staying ahead actually of NesTea in supply right now. 198 against 171. These Ultras are going to be the true test for BratOK. Is he going to be able to do anything once they're on the move? Look at that. 6 armor and 47 damage against armored targets. Of course, they do that sweeping attack as well. A little bit of splash damage. These Marines can get cleaved down incredibly quick, even with 2-2 upgrades. So we'll see the march of the Ultralisk now. Go ahead and leave their health highlighted throughout this fight. Big Fungal goes down on the Medivacs. They're not going to be able to escape. Looks like a bunch also hit those Marines, but the Infestor is out of energy. Now it's up to the Ultralisk to actually carve through everything. Every single Ultralisk -1 now has survived this fight. They get all the way to the siege tanks, and look how fast they attack now. They are actually much faster than they used to be in this game throughout several patches. We have 7 Ultralisks still surviving. This orbital command is, Planetary Fortress is dropping very, very quickly. Medivacs trying to heal the SCVs that are repairing the orbital, but we still have 7 Ultralisks going crazy right now on Marines and SCVs. A couple more tanks rolling in now. They're trying to do their DPS unsieged, and 2 more fresh Ultras join the fray. That's going to put them back up to 10 Ultras, and NesTea is just slamming through here. Look at this Ultralisk with only 6 HP remaining and 10 kills. BratOK unable to focus fire. He's just basically trying to retreat all the way back into his main. His attack basically fell flat. NesTea has no money really after this attack is over, so he really needs to kill BratOK here. He looks like he's doing a good job though. 8 Ultras all in varying levels of health. So many Ultras in the red and orange. BratOK just cannot finish them off. Medivac's trying to get these Marines back up. Still 7 Ultras all in the orange and red, but they have so much armor those Marine bullets barely do anything. Looks like BratOK is actually pulling a ton of SCVs now to try and get in on the fight and try and damage these Ultralisks. You can see his HP dropping just 1 at a time because those SCV attacks are just so weak. These Ultras still 5 remaining, and now Infestors and Lings coming in to sweep up the remains. Did such an amazing job. These Ultralisks basically just saved the game for NesTea. If he hadn't built 10 Ultras, I cannot imagine how this game would have ended. BratOK, GG's at the 23-minute mark, and NesTea is going to take game 1 basically entirely on the strength of these Ultralisks. Very, very interesting game. Let's go into game 2 now, as it is a best-of-3 series. BratOK still has a chance to try and topple NesTea.